Hey folks, Ricky aka the War Champion is in the building today, and today, you know, I want to put that joystick down for a second and have a good old conversation with you folks. I know you've played Kingdom Rush just like I've played Kingdom Rush, but I know there's got to be some hard campaign stages that you dealt with in Kingdom Rush. So today that's what we're going to talk about, the top 5 hardest campaign stages in the game of Kingdom Rush. Yeah, of course, everybody, your gameplay is going to most likely affect the way you perceive how difficult a level was. So that you may or may not agree with the way I have the list ranked. But I kind of want to, converse with you and have a little discussion. And by the way, this is all with respect to the assumption is that we're taking into account of the following circumstances. You playing Steam and Flash version, perhaps. Doesn't matter the version, but Steam because it has all the levels. You no hero, flawless victory, and on veteran mode. So we're taking those into account with ranking how difficult the level was. So without further ado, let us commence, folks. Let us commence. All right, number 5 on my list. I ranked Ancient Necropolis. So with respect to playing without a hero going for flawless victory and on veteran mode, the difficulty scale I ranked it 8 out of 10. There are a total of 15 waves on this one. 900 bounty is the start and 15 strategic points. There is no boss. How and why did I feel that this one was hard? Because there were a bunch of spawning grounds for zombies, skeletons, and rats all over the place. I mean, you just look at the map right here. You see all the zombie piles and skeleton piles. It just serves as an element of surprise attacks, and it can also they can also easily overrun your defense, as you may or may not be prepared for when it might happen. So you have to be well prepared at all times to know when it's going to happen. Because I'm very sure, especially on that last wave when they spawn especially the zombies, those are pretty they have moderately high hit points at 360. Hordes of those things can easily take you by surprise and overrun your defense. That's why I felt that was hard for that reason. You have the Fallen / Spectral Knight that appear, the Necromancers, Abominations. The combination of those enemies on this stage makes this kind of tough. That Necromancer spawning all those skeletons, creating extra work. The Abominations that are like tanks, 3,000 hit points that don't and have low armor, by the way, that don't appear to die. And then the Fallen Spectral Knights, as I mentioned on this next point. It forces you to have to use physical damaging / magic damaging towers to deal with that Fallen Knight at 90% magic resistance, and then the Spectral Knight has is completely immune to physical attacks. So you have to figure out a way to set up to get some bounty and to set up the towers well enough to kill that combination off, because of course you're still gonna have to deal with all that surprise attacks going on, but it's definitely that combination of that Fallen Spectral Knight is very annoying to put up with that, and it's difficult to kill them off having to figure out setting up those array of towers. And then plus another reason why I felt it was hard is because there was a lot of misdirection on the routes enemies take towards the exits. There's only 2 exits, as you can see, but that it just serves as a lot of confusion and trickery. And I almost feel like you'd have to play the level enough times to know, like for instance, in the beginning, there were 28 skeletons on both sides, and then 2 Fallen Knight appeared on one side where the skeletons appeared, but then you might expect the skeleton and Fallen Knight to go down one path, but then the Fallen Knights go and take another path. They veer, and even the skeletons, they'll all converge and go down one path. And as compared to what you might expect them to go down one other path, they do something different. You see that little crossway, they take that crossway. So there's a lot of misdirection on this one that can confuse you a little bit, and might, that's what made this level kind of hard in my opinion. Aside of also the Necromancer, other enemies, but definitely that combination of all these reasons made it hard. It might be some others I'm not thinking of, but for sure I feel like I'm hitting the nail in the wall with these points. So let's see some clips to see what I'm talking about. So this is right here. This is the surprise, and this is where they can overrun. You see all these zombies, 360 hit points per zombie, but it's easy to surprise and overrun you there. Then this is another. This is an example of the surprise attack again, but also the misdirection. Look at you see the rats coming out, and then you got the skeletons right there at the top. But look what they're doing. Yeah, you see that? They're taking the other path. One's going one way, one's going the other. A lot of misdirection. And then here's just an example of the point that I'm emphasizing about the powerful enemies, the Fallen Spectral Knight combination, the Necromancers, and then the Abominations. Then, of course, you got those zombies that spawn. But that's what made that level kind of hard, in my opinion. Number 4 on my list, moving right along, I ranked Rotten Forest. Yeah, so Rotten Forest, in my opinion, without the hero veteran difficulty going for flawless, difficulty scale 8.5 out of 10. The waves total is 20 waves. So this is one of 3 elite levels in the game that brings 20 waves. 800 starting bounty, strategy points, a total of 17. I don't know if that's the most, but it's quite a bit. 17 strategy points. The boss that appears is Green Muck. Everyone, I'm sure, knows who that is. Why is it hard? It's already a highly barric restricted level because of that acid pool. Also an earth elemental restricted level because if it dies, you get that swamp thing. It's definitely highly restricted, and for good reason, because you also have those bountiless tainted treants spawning in random parts of the map. That enemy is annoying as it is, and it's very strong. It's a 1200 hit point enemy with high armor, and they start spawning, as starting from the 11th wave going forward. Exception is that wave, I think it's the 14th wave, where they bring the gargoyles and demon imps. They don't spawn there, but definitely they spawn on every other wave in increasing numbers as you progress towards the final 20th wave, where they spawn a total of 6 on that 20th wave. So those bountiless tainted treants they also have a tendency to spawn near the exit too. That's another thing that I also noticed, and they really just mess up your defense. They spawn near that choke point down there. Next one is the Tainted Treant Swamp Thing Demon type combination. It's bad already with highly armored enemies on this one, but you also have that annoying Swamp Thing, and then you got those demon type enemies. When you mesh together magic resistant and armored enemies that are randomly spawning on the ground, it's just a bad combo. Really, really bad combo. And I think that's for those reasons made this level kind of challenging. Though I will say you get quite a bit of bounty on this stage, so that kind of makes up for it, but it's definitely challenging with that combination. And there's other enemies like the Necromancer, Noxious Creeper. They just don't appear as frequently as the demon type enemies, Tainted Treants and Swamp Things. Also, the fact that there's 3 entrances, 1 exit. So as you can see, you got that demon portal, but you have those 2 entrances. And then of course the acid pool, should one of your units die, if you were to have like a reinforcement die, you get the husks. But it's a big deal with 3 entrances because they all converge into one path leading towards that exit. So it's ultimately, which leads me to my next point, 1 choke point. So they can trouble you with an array of enemies in multi directions, and then if they all get near that choke point, and plus you got to deal with those bountiless tainted treants. You don't know where they're going to spawn at. They can all get at that choke point there, and you have a total of, I say, what is it, 5 towers, 6 towers that could possibly reach it. But I mean, the towers that can on the outskirts are probably going to be like arcane wizards or archer towers that can reach it. But you only have really ultimately like 4 good towers that can hit all of those enemies in tight quarters at that choke point there. And that's really the hard part on this level, is if all those enemies get at that choke point, it gets bad. It just gets bad. And then next, another reason is the annoying thing is that boss's special ability. If you haven't seen my ranking of the bosses, I've ranked Green Muck as the hardest boss to deal with in Kingdom Rush. And he's not the hardest to kill because he's only got 12,000 hit points. It's just the fact that he has all those treants around him, which changed, and plus the bountiless tainted treants spawning out of the ground. So it takes away the aim of the towers of killing him, holding him, and killing him off. So plus his ability to launch that slime ball from his head, hitting all units on the field, is very frustrating and very annoying, and it just makes it to where it's hard to slow him down and stop him. It's just hard. And then you got extra husks that might form as a result of that, because that attack is so powerful. So it's really tough. He's a boss. With that being said, it's very paramount to kill that boss immediately. Now I know you're probably saying, no, duh, like every boss needs to be killed immediately, but the point is that if this is a boss that if you don't kill, it's bad consequences. And what I mean by that is the fact that you still have those tainted treants, the bountiless ones that are spawning out of the ground. So the longer a green muck is alive, the longer you're gonna have to put up with those bountiless tainted treants spawning out of the ground, plus all the treants and the demon type enemies that are appearing on the wave itself. So that's why I ranked this level. I felt for all those reasons, I kind of ranked it as number 4 for those reasons. So let's see some clips. So this is just showing you the combination of those demon enemies. I mean, and the swamp thing, and the husks. Yeah, see, you got the husk there, you got the swamp thing, the necromancer, demon hound, demon lord. Just look at all that. Look at all that. Then you got these bountiless tainted treants getting ready to spawn out of there. Look at that. It's just a horde of enemies, and they all go near that choke point. Just you have limited time to kill them off when they get at that choke point. Now you got green muck in the building, so you see no hero is here. But you see right here, look at that. Yeah, slime ball attack, boom, you got husks. Right, so you got extra work to do. And then, of course, you got those bountiless tainted treants spawning out of the ground. So you just have, yeah, it's just, this boss is just annoying. And it's just hard to slow him down. And if you don't have a hero, it gets tough. But that's why I rank this level number 4. Number 3. Now, this one is, you might not agree. But this is, again, from my experience, I ranked number 3 as Castle Blackburn, and it's cool. The level that I ranked 2, I had this very close, but I kind of edged that level ahead of it. But this is Castle Blackburn. On a scale 1 to 10 without a hero veteran mode and flawless victory, you're going for is a difficulties 9 out of 10. Total of 15 waves. The bounty you start off with is pretty impressive, 1250. 15 strategy points. The boss that appears is Lord Blackburn. Now, why was this hard? Most of you, as you know, I think the biggest reason it's hard is because of those multiple spawning grounds. Again, like ancient Necropolis, you have a lot of spawning grounds for skeletons, zombies, and rats to serve as an element of surprise. I mean, just look at this. Look at the wave. You see the skeleton pile at the top left part of this map. You see the bottom part of the map, the zombie pile, the rat pile, the skeleton piles. They're all over the place. And the fact that you have 3 exits, they do a good job of causing these surprises to go in multiple directions. These enemies can go in multiple directions. That's what makes this kind of hard. And you just get taken by surprise, and then you still have other troublesome enemies to deal with, such as my next point, the black hags, the fallen knights, the abomination, skeleton warriors, and the lichen enemy combinations. Those are just tough enemies to deal with. And when you got hordes of these enemies spawning in multiple directions, it's just a problem. It's a nightmare, and it's what makes it tough. But I believe that because of the starting bounty that you begin off with, that's what kind of makes me feel like and then you rack up a decent amount of bounty. That's what makes me feel like it's not too bad putting up with all of that. I mean, it's bad, but it's not, it's not like the, oh my gosh, the big old weed type of bad. Next is another thing that I don't, maybe you may or may have not come to reason this and realize this, but there's a even number of magic. It's an even ratio of magic and armor resistant enemies that appear. So for the magic resistant enemies, it's the black hag, you have the fallen knight, you have the werewolf, the warg, and the lichen. That's 5 magic resistant enemies there. And then for the armored enemy, you have the were rat, you have the abomination, you have the spectral knight, what's that other armored enemy? Skeleton Knight. And then you also have, of course, Lord Blackburn himself. So it's an even ratio of physically armored and magic resistant enemies. So when you're setting up your towers, of course, you're still aware, you do take in consideration of that Fallen Knight, Spectral Knight combination. So you already know, oh, I need to get some physical damaging mage tower set up. But you really got to keep in perspective that you got an even ratio of magic and armor resistant enemies, because so you have to have a good array of towers set up in multiple different spots of those physical damaging magic towers. And then it's a lot of misdirection on the routes enemies go. That's a good one, because especially on that 13th wave where the lichens and werewolves appear, and even in the beginning where the werewolves and the wargs appear, they do a lot of misdirection. You see that right in front of that skeleton pile, right in front of it, that path at that choke point in the middle, like the werewolves and the wargs, they curve around that path, and they and even the lichens, they'll go down that separate directional path. So I feel that's what makes this kind of hard. It's a lot of misdirection. And maybe you might not have towers set up over there to deal with those enemies, but it's a lot of that misdirection going on. Next, the fact that there's 4 entrances, 3 exit paths. So that means, as I kind of mentioned already, you got to spread your towers out. I mean, with that being said, you got to utilize your bounty well, and still keep in mind that you got magic and physically armored resistant enemies appearing, but you got to spread your towers out, and you got to figure out how to do that wisely. You know what I'm saying? So that to me is a pretty big deal, because they can trouble you in all sorts of directions. And then also, with the surprise attack with those skeleton piles and zombie piles and rat piles close to the exit, that's just it's just hard to stop all of that. And then, of course, the boss's special ability is another problem. So the boss himself is pretty tough. I mean, also, I like to say he's kind of cool looking, but he's tough. He's definitely tough. 10,800 hit points. High armor, I believe, is 75%, if I'm not mistaken. And he also disables the towers, folks. That is so. Oh, he reminds me of the Black Surge from Kingdom Rush Frontiers. It's annoying. And he gets in the perfect radius. He just disables the heck out of your towers. Like 9 towers at maximum he can disable. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's definitely a problem. With that special ability. And he's got that area effect damage of 100 to 200. But, the big ooey is that disabling the tower. And it's very paramount to, just like all bosses you would say, but this is a type of boss you want to kill pronto, because that wave, they bring 15 zombies, 1 abomination from the swamp area, 4 lichen, 4 fallen knights from his area, and then at the bottom they bring 8 fallen knight, 1 lichen, and then of course 6 black hags. So if you don't kill them off and you're still messing around with them, you're gonna run into a lot of problems, because those fallen knights and those spectral knights and those fallen knight and lichens can get down there and raise chaos. And then you got the black hag out there insta killing. So you really want to kill this boss off pronto, and if you don't, it's dire consequences, folks. It is just dire consequences to deal with. So I ranked this 3rd. You may or may not agree, but that's where I ranked it. That's just from my experience. You may perceive it differently, but let's see some clips anyhow. Let's just get straight to the point and see some clips, see what I'm talking about. So here's an example. You see the element of surprise. You see the skeleton wars, the rats, the abominations from the previous wave, the black hags swarming the skies. Now you see the zombies over there, swamp, and at the bottom graveyard, just all kind of spawning and surprising. And then here's the next wave. This is the 11th wave. This is the wave that is a problem, folks. Look at all that spawning. Look at all the misdirection. Look at that. Wargs going down that other path. Zombies and skeleton wars coming down one path. That's another example of surprise. Then here you got the fallen knights. You got the fallen knights and the black hag. This is just to show you the combination. That's just more of the combination. It's a bad combo with fallen knights and black hags. And then it's another example. I don't think you might see them. Yeah, no, there it is. Another example of misdirection, but you got the lichens, really. This is just to emphasize that you're seeing lichens on this level. I think the previous wave showed it better. And then, of course, you got Blackburn doing stuff like this. Disabling the towers. So there it is, 9 towers disabled. And then he's always comes down to the wire with that boss. So it's hard for all those reasons. There you see there's no hero in the picture, so you can't really stall him and move that, that avatar, that moving avatar around. See, and then you see all these enemies getting down here because you messed around killing the boss, so you might have an enemy leak. But that's why I ranked this level number 3. So number 2 that edged it is this level, Fungal Forest. Yes, folks, this is a level that from my experience, I felt was a little bit, just a tad bit harder than Castle Blackburn, but Fungal Forest. I'm gonna give the reasons on that. So I ranked it exactly the scale 1 to 10, 9 out of 10. The waves total is a total of 15. Starting bounty is 1,000. 15 strategic points, and the boss that appears, as all of you know, miking it. So why do I feel this is hard and deserves to be a number 2? Because for one, it's already a highly barrack restricted level. On a level like this, a highly barrack restricted level can be a problem, because this is one of those levels. I don't know if it's me, or maybe you too might feel this way, but I feel like it took a while to get some bounty going, to get a lot of bounty in the beginning and set up some strong towers. maybe you could set up a lot of strong towers, but to really effectively do this level well without a hero, I think that setting up just it's similar to Rotten Forest, where you're kind of forced to have to set up indulge in setting up just one tower instead of one powerful tower instead of many towers. I feel like it's that type of party with this kind of level, and that's but for a level like this, taking time to set up many strong towers is, at least to my next point, it's a lot of troublesome enemies that appear. Quite a few troublesome enemies appear early on. Like, for instance, see, the first wave, you get 22 husks appear. So you're gonna get a total of 220 bounty there. But then the next wave, you know what they do? They bring 3 nauseous creepers and then 19 husks. So the nauseous creepers, that's a quality enemy. You're like, what the heck? Like, that's an enemy that goes willy-nilly spawning all those hatchlings, and you only have 1220 bounty to deal with all that. So to me, that's a troublesome enemy that appears early. So you kind of wish you set up more towers than that to deal with it. And every enemy is going towards that one exit too. So, and then not only that, the fourth wave, you've got the rot shrooms coming, 15 of them. So it's like, dang, the rot shrooms, I mean, they're not that bad to kill, but they're definitely semi-tanky at 600 hit points. And then, of course, when you try to stall them, if they die within proximity of your unit, you're going to have a poison unit that takes, a poison unit that's going to take a minute to heal, because he needs over the damage that the rot shrooms do when they explode upon death. It's 74 damage over a 5-second course. So your units are not going to have enough time to heal over 5 seconds like that, from taking 5 seconds of damage, because next thing you know, you're going to encounter another enemy. So I feel like that's a good reason why this level was kind of tough. And then you got of course the rot shroom, nauseous creeper, swamp thing, and tainted treant combination. That is it's just a nightmare on this level, folks. The rot shrooms, just powerful, semi-tanky. You got the nauseous creepers at 1200, magic resistant. You got the swamp things in the building at 3600. And then you got, of course, the tainted treants that are highly armored. So you got to have a combination of magic and physically damaging towers as it is already to deal with the creepers and the treant. And it's just a bad combo. Of course, the husks. But to me, the husks aren't really the big ooh-wee. I consider them easy money. Of course, they're armored, so it's never easy to deal with a horde of those things because they can overwhelm you, but still, the husks too, but they're not the big ooh-wee. 3 entrances, 1 exit. This is a level where that is a big deal because, you got rot shrooms, as I mentioned, nauseous creepers coming, swamp things, husks, tainted tree, all of that coming down towards 1 exit. That's just... And they come in multi-directions. So when you want to use the bounty and set up myriad of towers in multiple spots on the field, since it takes a while to get, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to kill off those enemies before they get down there towards that exit. So it kind of gets you on edge every time you play this level if they get down there near that exit. So, and ultimately there's really one choke point. I don't think there's really... I mean, yeah, I should take that back. There's multiple choke points, but there's really ultimately one main choke point where, ideally it's down there by that exit, as you guys know, where they have the elves tower at, and then the one strategic point by that exit. But yes, one main choke point to hold off all those hordes of enemies off. And that's what makes this kind of hard, because every enemy comes down there. And they're very troublesome enemies as well, powerful, tanky ones. And with that being said, you got that one strategic point. I don't know if you guys agree, but that strategic point near the exit, it's like in an uncompromising spot. It's just in a spot where you already have that elves tower there, and you would probably wish that was never there, because those elves are powerful with the bows, but they die so easily, folks. They're fragile, so it makes you not even want to invest in it. So then if you don't invest in it, what are you going to do? You're probably going to set up maybe a paladin tower, and more than likely a Tesla. You more than likely have a Tesla down there at the bottom of the exit, because that's typical. That's pretty ideal for you to do, is with the kind of enemies you got the creepers and the rot shrooms and the husks coming, you probably would have a Tesla. But it's bad because it's really just only those 2 towers in that spot to hold off all those enemies. So it's just an uncompromising position. It kind of, somebody mentioned, like, if you play Vengeance, Vengeance, they had strategic points that were it was just bad. It makes the gameplay hard because the strategy points were in bad spots. So I've never played Vengeance before, but that's what somebody mentioned to me as I spoke with that person. And I kind of feel the same. If what I'm saying is relative to that, then for sure, then they would see where I'm coming from. It's just in a bad spot, in my opinion. And then the boss's special ability should never go underestimated. The boss, yeah, he's not all that bad, because he only has 5,400 hit points, but that's a boss you don't want to take forever to kill, because then you spawns all those 10 rot shrooms that can overwhelm you if you're not prepared. So you should never underestimate that. So with that being said, you got to swiftly kill them off and do it in a pronto-like manner. So for all those reasons, folks, there might be some more good ones I haven't come up with, and that's where you guys are going to come in the comment section. I would love to hear it, but I rank this level number 2 for all the right reasons. So let's see some clips, folks. So this is an example. See, you see how many times I only have, this is the 5th wave. You got, look at that, nauseous. This wave brought 3 nauseous creepers, 4 nauseous creepers, a total of 7. 3 on the left, 4 at the top. But all I have is a paladin and the Tesla. But I guess that's good enough to put up with all this. But that gets you on edge, you see? And they're all by this choke point. So look at that. You got to move the paladins far up to get them in that choke point. And then this is the way where they bring the tainted treants and the swamp things and the husk and the nauseous creeper. This just to show the bad combination of the enemies. That's the point of this clip. I mean, these are just troublesome enemies that you have to deal with. Yeah, and then I gotta decimate over there. I mean, look at that, tainted treants. Then this is the way with the rot shrooms, man. They actually have a specific way for the rot shrooms. Like 87 rot shrooms came on this, and they're all coming down here to raise pandemonium. So I gotta let the sucker fly from the sky, folks. You know what time it is, right there. Yep, you gotta do that. You have to do that with all those rot shrooms. And you see that right there? The rot shrooms, the poisonous spores at the top part where I hit the level 3 tier tower, they killed off the hero, they killed off the barracks. See, this is the boss right here. You never want to underestimate that. But you see how he did that? The poisonous spore, now he explodes. If you wait forever to kill that boss, he gets all the way down here, he's gonna explode and bring all those rot shrooms in the picture. And that is, see that? You never underestimate that, folks. That's you don't want to do that. Even though he's a weak boss, but still. But yeah, the rot shrooms with the poisonous spores and killing off the barracks, it's just bad, for my opinion. And number 1, pandemonium, folks. Now, if I said any other level than this one, I wouldn't even blame you if you dislike this. Shoot, I'd be mad at myself if I didn't rank this as number 1. I mean, you'd have every reason to trip out on that. But number 1, I believe most of you would definitely agree, is pandemonium, hands down. Difficulty scale, if you were to play this on veteran, go for a flawless victory without a hero, it's a 9.5 out of 10. Waves, it's a total of 16 waves. Starting bounty is 900. Strategy points 15. Malak is the boss, as you can see in the picture. And why is it hard? I think most of you, there's a lot of reasons that makes this hard, but I think the biggest ones especially is the demon legions, of course, because I ranked that, if you saw my video the other day, that enemy to me is the most annoying in the game, as I felt. It appears in the midst of highly magic resistant enemies. Folks, that enemy is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. It really is. The fact that you have to kill off magic resistant enemies and you're probably doing it with physically damaging towers. That's the best way to do it. But then you got that demon legion appearing in the picture in the midst of them. That's just so. And then it's the demon legion, the doppelgangers, the doppelganger ability they have. It's so annoying to put up with that. That is what makes this level hard. You look for that demon legion when it pops up. When you see it on coming wave, oh, it gets your attention, folks. It really does. I know that for sure. This is a level where every enemy is a big problem. Even the demon spawns, even the demon imps, they are a problem because this level does a good job where they bring those demon imps, you know, at troublesome times. Like the 3rd wave, you might be still messing around with the demon lord demon spawns, but then next thing you know, oh, they're bringing demon imps. So you got to make adjustments. And then it's like, what the heck? Like you got to make all these strange adjustments, set up mage, maybe archer towers to deal with them. But it's just every enemy is a problem. The demon spawns early on are quite a problem, but not so much later on, but definitely early on. There are 3 entrances, 1 exit, as most of you know, and as you can even see. Well, you can't really see the exit in this photo, but yeah. It's 1 exit, 3 entrances, 1 exit. So they can trouble you in multiple entrances. So this is one of those levels like you know, the other stages. You have to spread out your towers. This is one of those stages where I think spreading out the towers is a big deal on, especially on this wave. You have to do that in order to really have a good shot at stopping these enemies, especially without a hero. Especially without a hero, it helps to have the tower spread out, and the three entrances. That's it's really kind of like that type of party. You'd have to do that. Of course, so two Cerberuses appear on this stage. So it's only on the 10th wave. So yeah, you okay, yes, they only appear once, but you know that Cerberus, 7,200 hit points, high armor, 70 to 90 attack damage, you have, and it's area damage too. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. So when you're setting up your towers and you're doing it early on, you really got to be leery of that and keep that in the back of your mind, because if you forget about it, then oh boy, you're going to deal with that Cerberus that can't be insta-killed, making its way throughout the wave, throughout the path, going down there to cause pandemonium on the pandemonium level. So they appear on the left and right side, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind. So definitely keep setting up maybe an earth elemental, which is a mage tower, but that could be a problem because you might early on want to set up some Teslas and some archers to deal with these troublesome enemies and even the demon legion. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind, especially with that Cerberus. Another reason is the multiple thermal fissures appear on this, so they take away a lot of several choke points. So if you want to trouble enemies in certain spots and do that, you never know. Maybe they turn that oven on and you can't do that because they took it away with that fissure. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating when they're removing parts of the map from you by turning that oven on you. So you can't set up you use that choke point for a barrack to hold a troublesome enemy. It's very frustrating to deal with this level because of that. This also requires precise use of the time of Rain of Fire. So typically in the beginning, when the demon spawns come out, you would use the Rain of Fire typically, and then the second wave, it's almost an instinctive tactic to use the Rain of Fire on the demon spawns on the second wave on the right hand side. So it's really important to utilize that Rain of Fire really well, especially on this level. Good micromanagement with the barracks is a must if you do decide to play with barracks, and then great efficiency with the reinforcements. That is a big deal, and it is crucial, especially when cutting off troublesome enemies, maybe like a demon lord that's getting ready to shield one of his brethren. And then of course how could we ever forget, folks, it is paramount to kill this boss off quickly. If you take forever to kill that boss, folks, you probably already saw the video I posted not too long ago, but folks, it's a nightmare if you don't kill that boss off, because you got the demon legions appearing, and boy, oh boy, I still remember that level with the demon legions appearing with the barracks only challenge, and if you take forever to kill it, you have all that to deal with. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So let's see some clips, folks. That's number one for me on my list. So this is an example of the demon legions appearing in the midst of magic resistant enemies. So now, see, this is the 11th wave. They brought the house on you. See, so I got to make a decision. Where do I want to yak? I want to do it over there, Rain of Fire over there, but we still got to put it with the Demon Lord Galaman and Demon Legion on that side. So that's an example there. Here's the demon spawns early on the third wave, but this is just to show how problematic they are. You have low-level barracks, so because you set up other towers that were powerful to deal with everything else, but you got to worry about the demon spawn. See that? Explosion on death. Boom. Now what do you do there? They're about to overrun the defense. And then you got the demon imps. This is not the best clip, but the demon imps do come at trouble sometimes. I could have probably used a better clip on this one, but I think you get the point. Then you got the Cerberus on the left and right, so I'm keeping that in perspective. Yeah, you see that? And then I got the Cerberus on the right hand side. So you got to keep that in the back of your mind. Then you got Malak. You got to get Malak out the building. Otherwise, you see that Demon Legion on the right-hand side near that Demon Lord, you're going to be having a whole lot of that on the stage, folks, on this wave. So this is an enemy you got to get out the building in a pronto manner. Yeah, it's that type of party, folks. So yeah. So then there he is. They're fighting him off, trying to kill him off. Yeah, he also has those flarings coming down the path, so they can clear. It's pretty smart what the producers did there. But yeah, if you don't kill them off, you got all those demon legions. Yep. So that wraps it up, folks. That wraps it up. That wraps it up. That's all. That's my top 5 hardest campaign stages that I have ranked. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. That's perfectly fine. I'd love to hear it in the comment section, folks. I want to chit chat with you, folks. You never call, we never email, we don't have all that. All we have is the comment section. So why don't you feel free to jump on down there. I'd love to have a little convo with you guys. So thanks for watching, folks. I love to chit chat with you. This is Ricky, aka the War Champion. Farewell.